Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Stephen Feuerstein. I'm the Oracle Developer Advocate for PL/SQL, and I lead a team of other developer advocates. And our job is to help you succeed with Oracle Database. And what I'd like to do on this webinar is talk to you about 3 websites that we are involved in. My team is involved in, and others in the Oracle Database team, to help you get the most out of Oracle Database technologies, especially SQL and PL/SQL. So here's my Twitter address, Twitter handle. Please sign up and follow me on Twitter. My blogs, my YouTube videos. There's lots of resources that I offer for PL/SQL, easy to find on the internet. I hope you take full advantage. But today what we're going to do is talk about 3 websites. Ask Tom, which I'm sure you've all heard of. The Dev Gym, I hope you all have heard of. And LiveSQL, again, it'd be great if you've heard of all 3 of these. Maybe not, which is why I'm doing this webinar. So the whole idea behind what we're doing here is that we sell Oracle Database, and everybody knows it's not cheap. It's the best relational database in the world, and it comes with a price tag, but we offer an enormous amount of free resources built around that database to help you make the most of that investment. And these are 3 really great ones. So Ask Tom, I'm sure you all have heard of. It has primarily been a question and answer site for many years, but now we've added a great new program called Office Hours. Oracle Dev Gym is a place you go to work out, get a sweat around Oracle technology, where you can take quizzes, workouts, and classes for what I like to call an active learning experience. And LiveSQL, which offers 24/7 access to the latest release of Oracle Database, that's 18c. And it comes with a script or code library and tutorials, lots of different ways to learn. And in many, many aspects, we're starting to join all these websites together to give you a really powerful learning experience. Let's dive right in. Ask Tom. So, Tom Kite, which is where the Tom and Ask Tom came from originally, was definitely the leading worldwide expert in Oracle Database, and he knew everything about the database, every aspect of it, including PL/SQL and SQL and much more. Compared, say, to me, I really just know PL/SQL. And he started up this website about 15 years ago to make it easier for him to answer people's questions, and it turned into certainly one of the most successful Q&A sites for Oracle technologists ever. Now, in 2016, Tom Kite retired. He's camping in Colorado or something like that. And the question became, what should happen to Ask Tom? And Andy Mendelson, who's the Executive Vice President of Server Development of Oracle Database and many other database technologies at Oracle, made it very clear to us that he wants to see Ask Tom continue bigger and stronger than ever before. And fortunately, 2 members of my team, Chris Saxon and Connor McDonald, were able to step right in and actually expand the activity on the site, modernize the UI, which is built in Oracle Application Express, by the way. And we're now in the process of really even building out further from there. So Tom, the Tom and Ask Tom, actually stands for the Oracle Masters. So it's not Tom anymore. It's a lot of Toms, a lot of people who may not know quite as much as Tom, but I think Connor and Chris come pretty darn close. But we'll also be adding, we have added Maria Colgan, who's an expert in optimizer and in memory and many other aspects of database, and other PMs and developers inside the organization. And we'll take a look in just a moment. There's also a new program that we've added to Ask Tom, which is very exciting. It's called Ask Tom Office Hours. Oops, sorry, went a little bit too fast there. And Ask Tom Office Hours gives you free monthly trainings and how-tos, and we'll go into that in more detail in a moment. But first, in terms of Ask Tom, the answer repository. So yes, Ask Tom offers thousands and thousands of Q&A on Oracle Database. And it's pretty interesting. I'm sure you've all heard about Stack Overflow. It's an incredible platform that supports Q&A for developers across hundreds of technologies, including SQL and PL/SQL, and it is the place that people go to on the internet. Well, sort of. Actually, the level of activity on Ask Tom, the level of Google hits that take you into Ask Tom to get answers to questions, for Oracle Database-related activity, pretty much rivals Stack Overflow. So it's holding its own in this new environment in which everybody pretty much goes to Stack Overflow. And we're now making constant enhancements to the UI. So for a number of years, it was pretty static, got a little bit stagnant. We're now keeping up with the latest releases of Oracle Application Express and putting more and more new features and hopefully a nice look and feel that you'll appreciate. So, and then as I mentioned here, write those LiveSQL test cases. Let's take a look at what I'm talking about there. So let's go over to Ask Tom. So here's the new homepage for Ask Tom. The homepage used to focus on the list of questions, which you can still get by going to the questions page. And as you can see, here's the list of recent questions, recently updated questions. You can drill down, go exploring. As some of you may be aware, for the older questions that weren't answered by Connor or Chris, sometimes the length of the conversation could go on for pages and pages, hours and hours of reading. But as you can see, we're answering those questions, giving you lots of information, and really having a great time doing it. So the question repository is still there. People are still finding it the place to go through Google, other search engines, and by directly coming to the site. You can search away and go exploring. Now, of course, what you also might want to do is ask a question. Let's go through that process for a moment. Now, what we want to do with Ask Tom, particularly because it's not a crowdsourced environment in which we have hundreds of people answering questions, is make sure that you're able to ask a really good question. Really good in the sense that we can understand it. We can answer more readily what you're looking for, or answer, give you the information you're looking for, and it will be useful for everybody else down the line. So when we give you the opportunity to ask a question, you got to go through a little bit of advanced preparation. So one is, read what we have to say. There are a number of links to writing a great question. You've accepted those guidelines. You're ready to write a great question. Continue. And then you can just put in your question. Here's the question. You can pick your category, put in your email, et cetera, as always before. One thing we've changed, though, is that we now would like you to build a test case in LiveSQL. So right on this page, we'll give you a link to LiveSQL. I'll come back to LiveSQL and show it to you in just a moment and how it ties in here. But you can go right onto this live 24/7 access site for Oracle Database. You can build a script that demonstrates what you need help on. You can run it in LiveSQL and confirm that it works properly. And then you can post it as an unlisted script that we can then read by you putting the link here. And by taking that additional step of using LiveSQL to build the verification script, your test code, it will make it much, much easier for us to understand what you're looking for and give you a really, really great answer. So please take the time to do that. Okay, so the questions are out there, the answers are out there, the resource repository is still there with many, many presentations and different sites that we like, books we like, and so on and so forth. So just a tremendous amount of resources there for you in good old and good new Ask Tom. But we didn't stop there. So what we've also done is add a great new feature called Ask Tom Office Hours. And the basic idea is like a professor having office hours. Every month we have dozens, literally dozens, of database product managers, database developers, and evangelists like myself making themselves available online for 1-hour sessions that are either open Q&A. Hey, I've got a question about Oracle sharding. I've got a question about the optimizer. Help me out. Or they might be how-tos and small tip trainings in which we spend a few minutes exploring some technology, some aspect of our technology, and then open up for Q&A. We encourage you to subscribe so you get reminders and notifications. For example, tomorrow morning, I'm doing my next PL SQL office hours on collections, arrays, and lists, and so on and so forth. And if you follow me on Twitter or you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, you'll probably see notice. But if you subscribe, even better. Let's take a look. So I'm going to go back to the homepage of Ask Tom. Oh, I have to share. I'm sorry. I think that I was messing up there a bit. Let's see. So let's make sure I do this right. So I need to share Firefox and get away from that page, but it's fun to watch. So I think that you didn't see what I was saying about Ask Tom. I'm really sorry about that. I'll do a quick review of what I just did so that we can cut out the part that didn't make any sense. And I'll try to remember to flip between these modes more readily. So on the homepage of Ask Tom, you can now dive into office hours, look at resources, but you can head right over to questions. And here's our same history of questions out there. And you can drill down and learn more about a specific topic. You can certainly search. I've got a question about correlated subquery. And then take a look through the different options. In addition, you can ask a question. So now I'm going to go through what I just said before. Anyway, you can't just type your question in. We want you to read about what makes a great question so that we can help you more readily and quickly without going back and forth. What do you mean? Why doesn't your code run? What's going on here? So we want you to read some guidelines for writing a great question. And then you can put in your question, and the key thing here is that we will give you top priority for answering if you provide a solid test case in LiveSQL. And I'll show you LiveSQL in just a few minutes, I promise. And I'll even remember to share the screen. But it gives you an opportunity to write out your code to make sure that it runs to the extent of identifying the problem or setting up the problem you've got. And then you provide the link in this field, and then we are much more likely to get around to answering that question as a priority, because we know that you've put the time into making it a solid question. Well, many people just throw in some pseudocode, and it's almost impossible to understand what's going on. So that's the question interface. Lots of resources for you. We've got websites, we've got books, recommendations. We've got presentations that Connor and Chris are uploading to the site just like Tom used to do. So tons of information at Ask Tom. Now, let's take a look at office hours. So right on the home page, you'll see the next 4 upcoming office hours, but let's just go right over to all office hours. And just take a look at this. Lots and lots of sessions on many different topics. PL SQL, which is starting in 14 hours. I better get ready. JavaScript in the database, database security, SQL, Application Express, compression, globalization, multi-tenant, database administration with Connor, in memory, so on and so forth. JSON in the database. If you're starting to work with JSON, you're working with your JavaScript developers and they need the data in JSON format, and it's coming to you in JSON format. Attend that session with Beta Hammerschmidt, the developer of the JSON functionality in the database. If you want to learn more about building a really powerful database architecture around smart DB principles, check in with Brendan Toon-Kopelars, and so on and so forth. I hope to be steadily adding new office hour sessions into this array, but hopefully you can see that it offers a wealth of information. So let's say you said, I want to check out Steven's PL SQL sessions. Click on PL SQL. You can read about my next one, which is coming right up. You can get more information about when it's starting in different time zones. We use Zoom as our conference presentation platform, so you can get ready in advance. You can submit questions for the sessions. Now, this is not a replacement for full-blown questions on Ask Tom. If you have some detailed, lengthy piece of code and you've got a complex problem that you need solved, this is not the place for it. The Ask Tom office hour sessions are really driven around helping you build your craft at writing better applications using our technology. In any case, submit your question. Hopefully we'll take it up in the next session. You can check out the schedule for future sessions, but also if you miss one of our sessions, for example, you're just finding out about office hours right now, you can say, I'd really like to learn more about error management. Go to error management. There's the recording of the session, so you can play that session. I won't do that now. You can ask questions even about that topic in that session. And you can move around through the different sessions. So as we build out the office hours program, you'll have more and more of these resources online to help you. Chris Saxon is the other member of the Ask Tom Answer team and a member of my developer advocacy team. Helps me out on the PL SQL sessions as well, because not only does he know PL SQL, but he's way better at SQL, and often the questions, of course, are combined. You'll also find at the bottom of each of the pages for the different office hour sessions a set of resources, some general resources that are appropriate to all the topics. And in this case, PL SQL and then error management related topics. So it's a nice landing page that can be a great go-to resource for you as you're learning different topics, such as block structure, conditional compilation, dynamic SQL, etc. So what you do is sign in to subscribe. You don't have to. You can just see the tweet and come and join the session. And let's see, I'll unsubscribe. When you unsubscribe, you can't give us feedback, but we encourage you strongly to subscribe. So you just click on that button. You'll get an email confirming that you're subscribed. You'll get a weekly digest. Every Monday, we'll tell you which sessions coming up that week are happening that you're subscribed to. And we'll give you a reminder an hour before the session starts. So seriously, folks, look at this. Dozens of product managers and developer experts and evangelists are ready to help you on a monthly basis. Just show up and ask your questions. What a great opportunity. And that's what Ask Tom is all about, is creating this enormous pipeline of communication between the insiders at Oracle, who are working day to day on this technology, and the users in our community who want to succeed with Oracle Database, and boy, do we want you to succeed. So check out office hours, sign up, and join our sessions, and hopefully I'll be with you again tomorrow morning in 14 hours. Okay. Let's go back over to PowerPoint. So that's Office. That's Ask Tom, of which you're probably the most familiar. Now let's talk about LiveSQL. So LiveSQL is a website that offers access to Oracle Database all the time online. You don't have to install anything. You don't have to go to your DBAs and say, please upgrade, we're still on 11G. I want to try out 18C. What's going on here? No. Always you can go to livesql.oracle.com, check out the latest database release. And it really offers a scratch pad, so you can just sit there and write SQL, write PL SQL, try out different things you've been playing around with. Or more importantly, you might give this website, the link to the website, to a developer who's just coming up to speed in Oracle Database and is not yet really clear on all the concepts, clear on all the syntax, and they need a place to play. In addition, you can use LiveSQL as a script library for personal use. So you can have a set of scripts that you like to have always available to you wherever you're working. You can load them up into LiveSQL. They can be private to you. Nobody else ever sees them. Or even better, you can share things that you've learned with the community by publishing your script online. So it's a great scratch pad for trying out and improving your SQL and PL SQL skills. And we have this great amount of content, both in scripts and tutorials, to deepen your knowledge around these areas. Let's take a look. Here's the homepage for LiveSQL. You don't have to sign in just to go looking around. So for example, I'm going to say, let's search for forall, really powerful feature in PL SQL. And then you can see a hit of a number of scripts on forall. So I'll just click on that first one. And it takes me to the script. Now I'm still not logged in, but I can just take a look. This is something that Stephen Feuerstein wrote. Wow, he's a busy guy. And it talks about the changes in statement level trigger execution with forall inserts. We don't have to get into all the details. The point is that I took one of my scripts. In fact, I've taken several hundred of my scripts, and I've loaded them to LiveSQL. And you can just read through the code. It's created the table, inserted some rows, created a package, and then I ran my code. And we can see the output here. And you can see that there are comments along the side describing what's going on in my different steps. So you could just read this code, but you could say, you know what? I really want to try it. Log in and run script. So then you log into your Oracle account. And then you can say, great, I want to run it because Stephen ran it a while ago. I created it 2.5 years ago. Let's run it now. Let's see what happens. So I run my script. And then it did just those things that I showed you before. Table created, rows inserted. And it basically demonstrates the particular technology or the feature that's the focus. So one way you can use LiveSQL, is to simply check out the code library. It's pretty big at this point. We've got hundreds and hundreds of public scripts. Many of them written by Oracle folks like myself, many not. But if we search for Feuerstein, you can see that I've got a bunch of scripts here. Over 214 scripts. So pretty much all the useful scripts that I wrote around PL SQL, using forall, using log errors, using bulk collect, using JSON in the database, error logging packages, some of it's reusable code, is all here for you to use. You could, of course, get much more specific, so let's go back to that forall example. Let's say you're just getting started on forall. So you could click on example of forall statements, and it shows you different approaches of using forall. Deleting with a single bind array, update with 2 binds, and you can try it out again, run it yourself. You can also say, I like this script. I want this script. I'm going to download it. And then you can get a download of that script and you can use it all you want, change it all you want. You can take my code, for example. Let's go back to code library. And let's type the word helper. Because what I do is build helper packages. So if you're using PL Scope, you can grab that helper package, a helper package for log errors. Here's the code. I talk about what it does. You can say, yes, I want to use this package. Here's the package. Here's the helper package. It's a lot of code. Pretty cool. And it shows you what it does, generating packages and so on. And you can say, that's what I want. I want that code, and it's yours to use. So the first part to know about LiveSQL is, wow, there's a ton of stuff out there for you across many, many different features. You can choose by area, categories within those. Oops, let's get rid of that. We have more categories. So you can pick from all these different categories and go exploring. So these are the individual scripts. Now we also have tutorials. Tutorials are really fantastic stuff. For example, let's suppose you want to get up to speed on using SQL in the database. Here's SQL JSON features in database 12.2. Now you're not talking about an individual script. You're talking about a whole online book. So the product manager for JSON in the database put together this tutorial, which goes on and on and on for quite a while. It's extremely detailed. And the way tutorials work, inside LiveSQL is that you can read a bunch of code. You can read some of the information. You can click on Insert into Editor and you hit some code. And then you run that code. So basically, as you're reading, and this is obviously very different from a book, as you're reading your online book, and it shows you some examples, you can run that code yourself. So I created that table. I want to load my documents, and so on and so forth. So you can step right through these things. For example, just to give you something that I wrote myself, let's go back to Code Library, Tutorials, Table Functions. So I recently published a class on the Dev Gym for table functions, functions that you can select from as if they were tables. I'll show you that in a minute on the Dev Gym. So here's my tutorial. It starts off with, what is a table function? Why would you use it? And then let's try it out. So create a table function. So I've created my function. It returns a collection. Again, I'll be talking about these tomorrow. So if you're not used to collections, you should definitely join us tomorrow. And I ran it inside PL SQL, but the real fun part is using it inside the select statement of a table clause. So here, I'll load this in. Here are my different selects from that function as a table function inside the from clause. Cool stuff. Run it. And I see my results. So the tutorial is a way of building up from an individual script to not only work on an individual topic all by itself, but combine to essentially an online book. So there are a lot of tutorials at the Code Library, and we'll be building more and more in the coming year. Let's clear this out. Let's go home. We're now using LiveSQL tutorials as a part of our ongoing classes at the Dev Gym, so you're going to see lots and lots more of these. There are tutorials on Analytic SQL, on basically introductory SQL features, materialized views, match recognize. There's a whole series on match recognize, which is an advanced SQL capability, and of course my PL SQL stuff as well. Okay, so you've got this amazing code library, but let's talk about you writing your own code. So there's the SQL worksheet. Let's reset. So I'm going to clear things out. When you first log into LiveSQL, every time you log into LiveSQL, you get a blank slate. There's nothing in your schema. It's automatically created and cleared out for you. So at this point, you can say things like select star from employees, but you'll be kind of disappointed because there's no employees table. It's your schema. It's empty. However, we do have other schemas. So for example, the HR schema is here. You can say, get me stuff from HR. There we go. That looks familiar. I can even say create table myams as select star from employees. Now I've got my table. Now I can say things like select star from myams. And I'm learning about SQL, so I want to learn about using uppercase. So let's see, I want to update myams. Set last name equal to upper of last name. And then it did it, and then I should be able to go back to my session. Oh, not that. I want to see my current session. So there are my statements in my current session. What I want to do is run this one again because I uppercase king and I want to see if it worked. So I run it. So the SQL worksheet gives you an opportunity to, again, play around with SQL and PL/SQL in a really powerful way. And by the way, while it says SQL worksheet, it's not just for SQL. So Deepen was out with that quit line. I guess I should have said hello world, but I didn't. How about hello APAC? So you can take your PL/SQL code, load it in here, try it out. You can build scripts that you want to share just with your team. And that's what I'll show you next when I'm done with this. So the worksheet will give you that opportunity to play around, especially great for people who are new to the technology. And again, this is 18C. So even if you don't have access to 18C yet, which it's getting pretty ubiquitous, you can get it on the cloud service. It's now available on premise. In addition, hopefully in October, certainly by the end of the year, we will be releasing 18C XE. So the Express Edition that will have pretty much all the features of Enterprise Edition with 18C, with just some limitations on constraints on size. Okay, now let's suppose that you're excited, you've been doing this stuff for a while, and you want to share your own script or build your own private script. So go to My Scripts. I've got here one here from before, but not a whole lot. So what I want to do is upload a new script. So I'm going to go out to my directory of many, many demonstration files, and I'll pick one. Bind collections. Binding collections. So you basically put in a name, put in a description. Even if it's just for you, you're going to want that. Upload the script. Let's take a look. So here's my script. I create a package. I've got some commands here that actually, as you're about to see, won't run. I can take them out. I'll take one out now. And then I can say, okay, I uploaded my script. Let's try it out. Run my script. Now I'm going to drop everything that's currently in my session because I don't want it to clutter up my new script. Ran my code, created my package. Notice unsupported command, but it kept going. And there's the data coming out of my select from an associative array, which was never possible before 12.2. This is an associative array or indexed by table. So I like it. I'm going to replace my script with that new stuff with the results. Now you can see it says package created and so on and so forth. I can say, I really don't want that there because it's going to tell me automatically. Built into LiveSQL to give me the errors. So in some cases, you're going to take your SQL Plus scripts and probably change them a bit to polish them up for LiveSQL. But here's the extra fun part. On each one of my statements, I can say things like a title, create package, associative array type. And I can say, I can also include an annotation description. The index by clause means it's an associative array. And now notice that comment shows up with the title. The more you put into your content, if you're planning on publishing this for others or remembering what you wrote when you come back to this a year from now, you're really going to want to take advantage of some of these features. I don't do it on all of my steps, but a lot of my scripts have a lot of statements with titles and annotations, and you can move things around with your sequence number and so forth. Now, once I've done that, I would like to publish it. Let's suppose that I feel like this is really great stuff and I want everybody to be able to enjoy it. Edit attributes. Now I can make it unlisted, and this is what you would do with a LiveSQL script for Ask Tom. Generally speaking, the test code you're writing is not intended to be for public consumption. You just want to feed it into that script. So you would make it unlisted. If you want to make it public, and let's just do that. I'll make it unlisted. I don't have to pick a category, but it's a nice thing to do. PL/SQL General, if I want to make it easy to search, associative array, table clause, apply changes. So when it saves the unlisted script, and it's working hard at doing that, which is great because it gives me time to take a drink. I noticed this earlier today. I'm not sure why it's taking so long to save a script, but I guess we'll bear with it. So again, going back to Ask Tom while that's going on, you go to questions. Let's say you built your script, you got your HTML link in the Ask a Question. You would just come back here and put the link in right here. Well, it sure is working hard. Nice to see it. But we'd really like it to finish sooner than that. So let's go back over to this link to LiveSQL. So what you'll find is that when you come back here, there'll always be a growing number of scripts and tutorials available for you. We don't have any mechanism right now for signing up for reminder or notifications when new stuff comes in, but hopefully that will be coming along soon. And it just gives you a nice way to build up your own scripts, share the scripts with the public or with Ask Tom, and just learn online about all the new features in Oracle Database. And it's still spinning. Okay, let's move on. So I'm going to watch it go to infinity. Oh, that's fun. Switch back over to PowerPoint. And let's talk about the final website. My favorite, I must admit, because it's the one I work on the most personally, and that is the Oracle Dev Gym. So the Dev Gym offers quizzes and workouts and classes to help you deepen your knowledge about various aspects of Oracle technology, including our newest quiz, which is on Java. And the idea behind this site is that it's what I like to call an active learning site. So as you may know, I spent many years writing many books on PL/SQL and writing lots of articles and so on and so forth. And I hope you buy my books and love them, watch my videos and love them. But the process of reading and watching is a fairly passive one. And I'm sure you know that when it comes to code, reading about a piece of technology, reading about a piece of syntax doesn't really cut it. What you want to do is actually use that programming language. Now, mostly, of course, that means writing code. And currently, we don't actually have you writing code on the Dev Gym, though we might extend it to do that. You can do that on LiveSQL. But another really important aspect of learning to be a really good programmer is learning to read code and understand what it does. And that's the real heart and soul of the Dev Gym quizzes. So we take quizzes, and there are literally thousands of quizzes that we've written since 2010. I used to actually write a daily quiz for PL/SQL, 5 quizzes a week. What we've done is take that library of quizzes and the new ones we're writing and combine them with videos and articles, blog posts, documentation, and so on to make little workouts. So you might watch a video, then take some quizzes to reinforce the knowledge you've just learned. And we also then take a step up from there, and we combine multiple workouts together in sequence to create classes, what I like to call a mini MOOC, massive open online course. They're mini because they're not heavy-duty classes in which you have to expect to spend 3 or 5 hours a week on your class with a kind of heavy load to get through the class. These are light, and you can go in and out of them. They're on demand, pretty much whenever you need to, whenever you have time. And for those of you who like to compete, and I know there are those of you who like to compete, you can take the tournament quizzes in which you're ranked against other developers from around the world, and the top 50 players ranked at the end of the year play in an annual championship for top honors. So let's go over and check out the Dev Gym. Let's switch back over to Firefox. Yes, there we go. And first of all, we do have a saved script. Oh, I don't know what happened there. My apologies. But you should be able to save your script. You can let me know directly, or you can give feedback on the site if you run into a problem. I'm really not sure what happened there. But I'll certainly talk to the developer about it later. So let me grab that text. Okay. So the Dev Gym. Here's the homepage for the Dev Gym. And right away you can just search. You might say, well, I really want to get some resources on 4all, bulk processing. And it shows you a number of quizzes on 4all. It shows you a workout. We don't need to have a devoted class on that. But there are actually 81, look at this, 81 resources. These are all different quizzes on aspects of bulk exceptions. I've been writing quizzes for a long time, as you can imagine. There's a lot you can learn on the site. So we have lots of resources there, but let's go back to the home page for a second. So what you see here, the latest quizzes of the Dev Gym are the tournament quizzes. And again, you can choose to play competitively. We publish a new quiz each week. Currently, I'm unranked in everything. Well, I'm ranked in Logic and Java. I really can't rank myself on the others since I'm involved in writing those quizzes. And what I can do right now is click on that link. It takes me into the quiz. And here's the whole idea. What I'm going to do is read the quiz I read the code, and then I choose the answer that I think is correct. And there can be more than one that are correct, usually. So I can say this will produce the right results, this will produce the right results, and submit my answer. Now, because this is a competitive quiz, you can't see whether or not you got it right until the end of the week. Our quizzes go from Saturday to Friday. And then you'll get an email if you're signed up for emails, and you'll be able to see how well you did and then get into the rankings. So those are the tournament quizzes. But you can always just go to the quizzes tab. And you can say, I'm really looking for quizzes on For All. Let's go to all quizzes. For All, just like I did before. All right, great. So I just want to try out one of these quizzes. Click on the link. It takes me to the quiz again. You read the code and you ask yourself, what is it going to do? I don't know how often many of you do this. Usually what we do is write code really fast. We're in a big hurry. And then we say, all right, let's try it out. In other words, we kind of throw the spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. We don't actually read the code and logically verify what it's going to do, what it should do. But that's what you do here. And this is obviously a pretty long piece of code. This was actually played originally in a championship quiz. So there's a lot of code. It's a hefty quiz, advanced. So you read it, and then you decide which of these choices is the correct one. And with long questions like this, what you probably want to do is pop up the question in a separate modal. And of course, you want to play around with your screen, give yourself lots of real estate, and now you can scroll through your choices while you're still able to look at your question code. So that's the idea there. So read code, take your choices. I'll pick 1 and 2. Submit my answer, and now because this is not a competitive quiz, it's not a tournament, I'll see the results right away. So it tells me, Stephen, you didn't do very well, only 25% right. The average was 61% on that, which is pretty low. It's an advanced hard quiz. And lots of people took usually a bunch more time than 1 minute, as you might expect. And now I can look through the quiz. I can see why I got things right and wrong. There's my explanation. And also, so you can just spend your time looking through all that. You can also go back up to the top, and you've got access to all the code. So right now, you can take this code. You can click here. It'll load it into LiveSQL. You can run it there. Or you can just grab it, download it yourself, and try it on your own machine. So all the verification code is automatically generated from the question and available for you to try out. We've got discussions. For example, somebody thought that there was a problem in this quiz originally, which we probably fixed. Well, I'm sure we fixed it if it was a problem. So they noted a mistake. We fixed it. So there'll be discussions about topics. You can say, I'm interested in similar quizzes. And right away you can say, that was fun. I want to do more. Go to further study. Check out links and resources, including office hours at Ask Tom on the related topic. So hopefully you're getting the idea. Taking quizzes can be quite a challenge. Obviously, they're not all as lengthy as those. Some of them are quite straightforward and beginner level. In fact, if you go to quizzes, you can say, I only want beginners. So just give me beginner. In fact, just give me beginner Stephen stuff. That's what I like. Give me the Stephen stuff, and so on. So you can trim it down and not get caught up in those really lengthy quizzes. But individual quizzes can be an enormously helpful way for you to kind of keep fresh on the technology and test your knowledge. So those are quizzes. But I think really there's a lot more interest and activity around our workouts and classes. So let's take it a step up. Let's take a look at workouts. So with workouts, we basically bundle together blog posts or videos or other kind of resources that are not quizzes with a set of quizzes from different experts. And notice Tim Hall has a number of workouts at the Dev Gym. He's basically graciously allowed us to take any of his many articles at oraclebase.com. Here's his article. We attach quizzes to them, and then we create the workout. So I'll say, yeah, sure, I want to take this workout. Tim's an interesting guy. Then I can click on his article. I read the article. I come back to the Dev Gym. I might read the documentation as well, and then I take my quizzes. So again, the idea here is that you read something, you watch something that tells you some new information, and right away you try it out. You verify your knowledge by looking at this code, reading the code, being reinforced around the syntax, and so on. Notice this is 5 quizzes, so you can just move through them. You don't have to go back and forth between your videos and your quizzes or whatever. There we go. Save them, and whenever you're done, you can save, go back, and notice it's saved what I've done so far, but I don't have to take the whole thing right now. I might only have time for 5 minutes of work, and I'll come back later. Going back to workouts. So I encourage you to check out our featured workouts, explore all of our different workouts. You can even set up daily workouts. These are individual quizzes. Just click on a box. And then each morning you'll have in your inbox links to your next quiz, your next daily workouts in your chosen technologies. In addition, you might say, you know what, I've got a new project coming up. It's on Dynamic SQL. Haven't used Execute Immediate for a while. I really need to freshen my knowledge and skills. Go to Do-It-Yourself Workout. PL SQL. Let's go to Dynamic SQL. Lots of different high-level categories here for you. And I want an hour's worth. And let's see, I don't want to go to advanced. That's going to be too tough for me. So beginner to intermediate, add to my workouts. And we go out and find a number of quizzes that match your criteria, beginner and intermediate, for a Dynamic SQL that fit within an hour, according to our estimates. We think this might take you 57 minutes. And off you go. So as you look ahead to the work that's coming up in your environment, whether it be Dynamic SQL, collections, error management in your PL SQL programs, or many, many SQL topics as well, you can use workouts to fine-tune your knowledge set and get you ready to go on that project. And then, if you're really excited about learning, and aren't we all, check out our classes. So again, classes in DevGym consist of multiple modules, each module of which essentially correlates to a workout. We've got at this point 5 classes, and we should have probably another 5 within the next few months. They vary quite widely. The most popular by far, with 11,800 registered students, is Database for Developers Foundations. This is a class put together by Chris Saxon, which is intended to be a very basic introduction to relational database and general database concepts. What is a table? What are columns? Data modeling? So on. So you can look through the class outline, or you can say, this looks really good. I'm going to register. And then you've got a whole list of modules to take. Usually you want to start at the beginning. And it's all, his modules are pretty much all the same. You've got a video and then quizzes, or in the newer ones, a video, a LiveSQL tutorial, and a number of quizzes. And really, if you haven't seen Chris's videos, do check them out. He's got a number of small kids, and he's got incredibly creative and entertaining videos relating from his experience and relating them to database. So we've got Database for Developers Foundations. If you've got someone on your organization who's new to database, or let's say a student just coming out of college or whatever, you might steer them to Database for Developer Foundations. Once they've taken that class, they can check out Database for Developers Next Level, in which we start to tackle more interesting SQL concepts. What about nulls, subqueries, order by, analytic functions, etc.? 10 modules of that. In fact, we're just wrapped up the first scheduled version of this. Now it's all available on demand. Then we get into more specialized areas. So I'm most excited about our latest class, which is Connor McDonald's Analytic SQL for Developers. So if you're like me, you probably haven't kept up on all the latest and greatest stuff in SQL. I'm pretty much current on PL SQL, but on the SQL side, I definitely lag behind. And one of the big areas I lag behind in are the analytic functions. Connor has put together a 30-video series on YouTube on analytic functions. And what we've now done is taken those videos and put them together with quizzes and documentation and so on. So here you can see a video, documentation, video, a blog post, etc., etc. And then, yes, you guessed it, a number of quizzes. And these videos are really fantastic. They take you step by step in a very simple, understandable way through understanding and taking apart the syntax of analytic functions and how to use them. And I strongly encourage you, if you're not already really quite comfortable with analytic functions, this is a must-do, a must-take course. And again, do it on your own time, do it during your company's time, obviously even better. But you can just do it in small snatches of time. You don't have to commit hours at a time to do so. And I've got a couple of smaller scale classes. 9 good to knows for PL/SQL error management. So if you want a good reminder about how you should take advantage of features in PL/SQL for error management, handling exceptions and transactions, and so on and so forth. These are a lot built around a lot of recommendations. Then take this class. And my latest, but soon it won't be the latest, is a 4-module class on PL/SQL table functions. Table functions are really fantastic stuff. You can select from, basically a table function is a function that returns an array. And then you can select from that array as if it were a table of rows and columns. It's a very powerful feature, lots of different ways that it comes in handy. And I start with an overview and then go through different aspects of table functions. It should not take you very long to get through it, but it'll give you a really solid grounding in one of the most fascinating features of PL/SQL. And again, with any of our classes, you've got links to further study, get an FAQ if you have any questions about the class, and so on. So that's a general run through of the DevGym. Finally, though, one of the things that we're very keen on with the DevGym is rewarding you for the time you put in. So we have leaderboards. You accumulate points as you do things on the DevGym. And you can see that some people here have been very busy. From way back in 2010, they've been busy on the DevGym, taking quizzes, classes, workouts, competing, getting into annual championships. And you can see more about them here. For example, Stelios is, well, number 1 when it comes to number of quizzes taken, points, and so on. He's got a 94% accuracy lifetime over all the quizzes he's taken, and he has taken thousands of quizzes. Pretty remarkable guy. Back to the leaderboard. So you can see how people are doing on their tournaments. For example, last week in SQL, Stelios was number 1. Let's see, last week in Java. Let's try Java. Ridis was number 1. And you can find yourself in here as well. Hopefully you'll play to be ranked. It's a great way to learn and a great way to kind of see how you do it against other folks. You can check out winners. Every month we give out awards for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place, and many other trophies as well. And let's click up here. So here's my trophies. This is, by the way, I should point this out. So I logged in as myself or my non-Oracle account, Stephen at stephenfeuerstein.com. But notice my name is HotCoder1180. That's because I decided, you know what, I don't want to show my real name. I'm not really sure I'm going to do such a great job of ranking. You can give yourself whatever gym name you want, and we won't publish your real name. So you don't have to worry about any of that. So, HotCoder1180. I click on that top bar, and it takes me to my dashboard. And this shows me how I'm doing across weekly tournaments, if I'm competing anywhere, how I'm doing towards getting trophies. I've got a ways to go, obviously. The list of quizzes I've taken, workouts, and classes. I can check out my trophies. I can print certificates for my trophies. I can see what I'm getting close to and where I want to focus. So answer to the question. Answer 42 quizzes. If I answer 42 quizzes, I'll get this trophy. Let's work on more quizzes. And you can see all the different trophies out there. And you can see I've got a lot of work to do. But there are a lot of trophies, lots of ways for you to get recognized as putting in an effort on the DevGym to build your craft. And you can then give your link to your public profile to your development manager to say, look at here's what I'm doing to improve my professionalism. You can, when you finish a class, you'll get a certificate of completion or a certificate of excellence. And all of these things can be used to demonstrate to your manager, to put on your resume, to demonstrate that you're seriously committed to your craft as an Oracle database developer. So, let's do some recapping. Ask Tom. Amazing Q&A site, unparalleled, except maybe in some ways for Stack Overflow. Going strong, taking your questions and answering more of them than has been done for years and years. And it's really just at this new frontier of adding major new functionality. So the first round of major new feature for Ask Tom are the office hours. I strongly encourage you to come visit, subscribe, get reminded of all these great sessions coming up. Take advantage of the fact that all these developers and all these product managers and evangelists are taking time out of their busy schedules, just like we want you to take time out of your busy schedules, to come and learn from us and ask questions based on your own experience and your own challenges. And by the way, this program is so important for us because the more we hear from you directly, the more we understand where you're having problems, the better we can tune our software to meet those needs. LiveSQL. You've got a code library, enormous amounts of code that you can go check out. You can try it yourself. You can download, you can use, you can kickstart and jumpstart your own development. You can learn about major new features like match recognize and SQL and JSON in the database. You can build your own script library. Whether or not you want to publish it, they're always there for you to use. And of course, you can play around to your heart's content with SQL and PL/SQL on the very latest release of Oracle Database. And finally, the Dev Gym. Quizzes, workouts, and classes that will help you take your skills to a whole different level. You'll be able to learn more broadly about what's available in Oracle Database and SQL and PL/SQL, Java as well. You'll be able to learn from masters like Tim Hall, who have clearly put an enormous amount of effort to share their knowledge with others, especially around the workouts. Let's go to all workouts. Let's just pull down Tim's. So we've just gotten started even on exposing all of Tim's great stuff in the Dev Gym, but in all of these different topics and many more, he's put in an enormous amount of time into building out those great articles. And I'm sure many of you have been reading them. Now you can take that to the next level by reading his article, learning what he has to say about it, and then trying it out yourself with our quizzes, and then even going over to LiveSQL and playing around with it there. All right, let's wrap up. So you may have heard this before, but many people are pretty grumpy. Us older people, I suppose, are pretty grumpy about the world that exists for developers today, because it seems like people don't write code anymore. They don't think about solving problems. They just put a search in their search browser, in their browser. They say, fetch multiple rows at a time in PL/SQL, and they get links to all these different Q&As, whether it's in Ask Tom or in Stack Overflow or others. And they copy and paste code. And many times when they ask a question, they're clearly asking you to do their homework for them or do some free consulting for them. Now, on Ask Tom, we actually do an awful lot of free consulting. There's no question about it. But what we really want to do is build your own knowledge and your problem-solving skills so that you can do it yourself, not only for the current question you got, but for the next questions you got. So on Ask Tom, you'll see more and more that Chris and Connor and Maria will actually, as part of their answer, be encouraging you to figure some of the solution out, build it yourself. On the Dev Gym, we challenge your thinking, so you not only have to passively accept something and try to write your code off by yourself, but actually test your knowledge and verify for yourself that you understand the concepts, you understand the syntax, you understand how this code works. And LiveSQL, a tremendous opportunity to access all these scripts from developers from around the world, many of them inside Oracle. And again, yourself, share with the community. When you've been building scripts that are useful to you and your team, why not share it with everybody else? So, to sum up, we're hard at work inside Oracle headquarters or in the basement of a Chicago house, which is where I am right now, building some really great technology to help you provide really successful applications to your users. That's the bottom line. But we complement that great technology, the Oracle Database, SQL Developer, SQL CL, ORDS, Apex, with these other great websites to complement and build upon that knowledge base to make sure that you're getting the most out of Oracle Database. Thanks so much for joining me. And what I'm going to do now is head over to Firefox and see if I have any questions in the chat. Yes, I've got some stuff here. So I'll leave that screen up and I'll take a look through the list here. It looks like I had some complaints about, well, we can't see what Steven's talking about, and I hope that didn't happen after the beginning. My apologies. Other than that, I don't see any questions. So anybody have any questions now? Anybody have questions? Yeah. Okay. Looks like we're done then. So thanks again so much for joining me. Do check out all three of these websites. Follow me on Twitter. Sign up for those weekly tournament quizzes. It won't take that much time out of your week. You've got the whole week to answer these quizzes, and you'll be able to enjoy a greatly elevated understanding of Oracle Database. Thanks very much, and happy coding, folks. Take care.